to Good Game, the show for gamers, by gamers. I'm Hex.
And I'm Barjo. Coming up on the show this week, we push the line and rewind time with Dirt 3.
Epic fantasy role-playing goodness is at hand with The Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings.
Plus, we meet a couple of local musicians who've taken to reproducing retro video game music with real instruments.
But first, can you guess the game for this week?
X. We had such a huge response last week to our ultra rare red Good Game t-shirt that we gave away, so this week I found some more one-of-a-kind stuff from the set to give to a lucky viewer.
They're broken.
Yeah, one of a kind. If you could just try and find all the missing bits and glue them back together, that'd be sweet. I'm gonna go read the news.
This is war. How's he supposed to answer the call without...
Good game.
The Creative Assembly's Napoleon Total War has won an Ivor Novella Award. The annual Ivor Awards recognise British songwriters and composers, with this year's gong for Best Original Video Game Soundtrack going to Napoleon composer Richard Beddow.
My enemies are many. My equals are none.
Nitin Sohani's Enslaved Odyssey to the West and Richard Jacques' James Bond 007 Bloodstone soundtracks were also nominated. Developer High Voltage Software has apologised following the leak of an internal email that prompted employees to post negative reviews of a book written by games journalist T. Michael Murdoch following his scathing review of their latest game Conduit 2.
It will sadden me greatly to have to kill you.
High Voltage Software's Vice President Eric Knopfsinger called the email nothing more than a tongue-in-cheek jibe, but admitted it was a tad unprofessional. Sony has released their financial forecast for the fiscal year ending March 2012, revealing approximately how much the recent cyber attack will cost the company. The latest estimates put the bill for the attack at over $160 million. However, that figure pales in comparison to the damage caused by the March 11th earthquake and tsunami in Japan, which is expected to cost the company over $1.7 billion for the year. Notorious Japanese film director Takashi Miike has alluded that his next project will be a film adaptation of Capcom's Ace Attorney series. The comment came during a promotion for his latest film, 13 Assassins, where he mentioned his next project was a light-hearted courtroom drama based on a Nintendo DS game. Miike is well known for his violent and gory films. However, it wouldn't be his first time involved with a video game movie, having already provided his voice to the 2006 Japanese-only Animal Crossing film.
Good game.
Let's get dirty.
Very long, open over crash. Keep in.
We love. We hate. We
There aren't too many rally racing games bouncing around these days, but Codemasters has definitely cornered the market with their excellent racing series Dirt.
Dirt 2 was excellent, but it did shy away a little bit from their rally racing roots. Even the developer came out and said that. The good news is Dirt 3 is all about the rally. They've listened to their community, done away with time-wasting menus, and pulled out the annoying in-game chatter from 2.
Rally racing is all about control. A skilled driver will be able to tell when their car's weight is shifting too far and maneuver the perfect drift or use controlled braking to avoid going off the track. And going off track here is bad. The slightest ditch or oversteer and you won't be able to recover. But the rewind feature is back, which lets you fix a bum steer and even save you at the finish line.
I'm still not sick of this rewind feature, Hex. It just means you can take those corners with a bit more flair, knowing that you've got a mulligan up your sleeve if you screw it up. It's a bit more refined this time around too, virtually load-free, and the less you use it, the bigger reputation reward, which helps your progress. There's more assist options now too, and the previous games were a little punishing at times, so now you have plenty of difficulty settings and assist to suit your racing style. Since the last Dirt, Codemasters also discovered that more people are using chase cam than they thought, so there's a bit more love on those views too. But of course you can still do cockpit or bumper cam if you like to vomit.
Under bridge is
Handling is top notch. The way your car pulls away from a dirty corner is just excellent. You can tell when you're losing control after oversteering or when recovering from a crest. The car physics are impressive, especially when you slide into ditches or when you bump into other cars.
I felt like with the last Dirt games, there was so much correcting to do with when you were driving. Here I felt it was just a bit more natural. At least it felt a bit more natural, so that's good. The AI isn't bad, although at times I felt like they didn't really know I was there, so they just ram me. Of course, it could just be my bad driving, but I just felt after Shift 2, the AI there was so reactive to my recklessness, I wanted that here too.
Yeah, well, rally racing is a little bit more rough and tumble and fearless too, I guess. You'll be racing across tracks set in snowy Aspen, dusty Kenya, Michigan, Monaco, and Finland. I wasn't really a fan of the snow areas, it's just a bit hard to see some of the ditches, but there are some okay weather effects, and all around it's a beautiful racer, especially in some of those forest environments. Best trees ever.
Yeah, we played this on PS3, but we also have had a go at the PC version, and it just looks amazing.
I like the presentation of the game this time around. All must obey the triangular prisms of race events. But the voiceovers between games, Barjo.
Yes, I know, they're just awful. There's the out-of-place Brit,
Interest in you has grown, so you have a choice between 2 championships to start off the season.
the laid-back Aussie,
You didn't put a single dent in the car last time. Now that's what I call clean driving. Keep it up.
and Captain Derpalot.
That was sick, dude. The fans are loving it. Props, dude. You're a natural at this.
I mean, who are these people? They have the most awkward conversations.
DC has got a big surprise waiting for you.
Your own personal. Hey, don't give away the surprise yet, Christian.
Thanks, Jack. Yeah, keep racing as well as I know you can.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know why they released a game with voiceovers like this. I mean, it's not a huge deal, it's just in the menus.
Looking great out there.
Hey, you always look great out there.
But still, terrible, and it only gets worse as the game progresses.
The biggest additions in Dirt 3 are in the multiplayer and a new mode called Gymkhana. And let's talk about that first because it's everything that's sick about pleasing fans. Apparently, amigo.
Gymkhana now takes the center stage with custom-built arenas, mad crowds, and everything that is sick. The top drivers around the world all compete to sign their names in rubber and get the crowds going wild. Gymkhana is all about expression and personality. Make it your own, and you'll have some fans for life. You're gonna love this one, amigo.
Anyway, Gymkhana is about linking together tricks in a playground and pleasing fans. It started out just in parking lots with traffic cones, but became very popular online as people uploaded all their videos. To my understanding, it's been made even more popular by rally driver Ken Block, who was right behind it. They've done a good job with this mode, and I think enthusiasts will really enjoy it. Personally, it's not really for me, but I had a great time just in this playground because you get a good feel of how the cars works and the physics of the game.
It's a nice addition, and I liked the more wacky playground events like taking out all the robots and avoiding buildings. And keeping with that theme, there's YouTube integration here, once again enforced by Sir Derpalot.
That'll give your rep a boost for sure.
We couldn't test out any of the online modes with our code, which is a shame because the online in Dirt 2 was just fantastic, and the sequel has a zombie tag mode and a capture the flag mode, which sounds awesome. But they have included split screen this time, which is a welcome addition, I think. But let's wrap this up.
Well, there's some nice touches here. I like all the horn unlocks and the way it remembers your name and says it, or your nickname even.
Hey BJ, you've been asked to take part in another publicity event.
I'm not a car buff, so I can never appreciate all the different vehicles in these games, Hex, but I know I had a really good time with this racer, so I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I love the co-driver assistance in this. It helps you by letting you know when to push and when to play it safe.
100 uphill, stay mid.
And I really enjoyed the extra rally here, but really I just wanted more races with everyone on the track at once. But, you know, I enjoyed balancing the risk with the rewind, so I'm giving it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I played a lot of older Atari and Nintendo games, but I think that the first game I really fell in love with was Mario 64, and it was because the environments were just so beautiful for the time. And it was the first game where I really just wanted to be in that world and, you know, just run around and look at the water and the trees and go swimming in the water. It was just such a gorgeous, I mean, I know the word immersive is overused, but it really, I felt immersed in that world for I think the first time in a game.
Hex, you know I love Fallout New Vegas, even though it's burned me so many times with constant crashes and bugs.
Well, it's the ones that are closest to us that hurt us the most, I think.
Wise words. Earlier in the year I tried the DLC while we were on holidays, Dead Money, but it was all corridors and gas and then it crashed and I was kind of done with it. But Honest Heart sounded like it had a neat story, so I put on my Chinese stealth armor, said goodbye to some companions, and joined up with a caravan to journey into Zion National Park, with adventure in my heart and caps in my pocket.
You looking for trouble, bud?
Well, how did it go?
Well, within moments I had a guide to show me around, and I scouted some landmarks, killed some beasties, and nuded up some tribal guys. And the zone itself is quite pretty, with a vast view of canyons and distant mountains, streams and waterfalls. Then I met the burned man himself.
We should have given you a better welcome on your first visit to Zion.
And he wanted me to go on a collection mission of some sort.
Daniel and I need pre-war tools to help us navigate beyond Zion.
It's at that point that I just stopped listening to him, killed him. All of his friends, everyone else I came across, got the map to exit the zone, fast traveled out of there and went to bed. About 20 minutes, I think.
It's a bit weird that you were able to do all of that so quickly. I mean, I know this is a game of choice, but I'm not really sure that that's an accurate review of it, Barjo. I mean, doesn't it really depend on how you roleplay your character?
I know, but I just couldn't be bothered. And I think it's because this event happens before the ending of Fallout New Vegas. So it's a bit like Operation Anchorage in Fallout 3 or Dead Money, where you can't actually finish the game and then go and do this. So you have to load an old save file, and I just feel like I'm going backwards. I don't think that'll bother everyone, but it really bothers me. My main complaint is that the DLC assumes you want to play a character that helps people. And if you're not, if you're playing an aggressive character, if you're playing Fallout Jerk Vegas, then you're really going to beat this in 30 minutes, essentially breaking the DLC, instead of the 4 or 5 hours that you could experience if you did it the other way. So that kind of bugged me.
I'm really glad you shared that, Barjo. But let's talk about something else now. In the 1980s and even the early 1990s, most video game music was comprised of a series of 8-bit bleeps and bloops, but the melodies were unforgettable.
Yes, when we heard that some local musicians were recreating some of these tunes with real instruments, we just had to go and have a listen.
Hi, I'm Lachlan.
And I'm Mike.
And together we cover video game music. My dad used to be a guitar teacher, a music teacher, so did my mum. But my dad gave both me and my brother guitars when we were really young, when we were 7, and he taught us how to play. And then at high school, I really started to pick it up and play a lot more.
I got started in music when I was very young, about 6 or 7 years old. My dad was a guitar player, and he bought me a guitar when I was really young, and it's all I've really done since. Well, there's this guy on YouTube called the Angry Video Game Nerd who's quite popular.
All these games suck.
A couple of years ago, he needed some music for his videos, and so he put a message on his forum saying, I need some music that kind of sounds like this. Anyone is interested, let me know. So I emailed him a couple of tracks, and then he really liked that and used that on one of his videos.
I'm surrounded by filth. Might as well just cover my walls in shit. I'm living in shit.
He then started getting in regular contact with me whenever he did a new video. He'd say, I need some songs like this. Can you record a couple of quick grabs like this, or this kind of mood, or this kind of sound? And so Mike and I divided up the work between the two of us, and we both recorded our versions of these old Nintendo songs, which is really good fun. So that's how all that started. There's no sheet music for any of these songs. There's no chords, or nobody's written out any of the music. I pulled up the original backing track from the game called Gyromite. The first thing you got to do is have a listen to that, try to work out what instruments are going on, what melodies there are. So there's a good example where we can just hear it's pretty. It's sort of what it's doing on the guitar. And then based on that, I then need to switch over to Pro Tools and load in all the patches so I can start with all the drums and guitar. I'll start off with just the guitar. So in this case, it was sort of a guitar version of that original theme. And then start throwing in the bass, which and then start working out what leads need to go over the top for the melodies. So for example, for the main melody, there's the main guitar, and then throw that over the top of everything else.
Okay, so once Lachlan's finished the sequencing and the recording and he's happy with how the track's sounding, he'll send it over to me and I'll EQ it, compress it, sort of make it sound in balance and mix it down.
That there were issues around having to pay royalties when you release an album, which is fine. I just figured I'd just find out who the copyright owners are, and you sign up with APRA and tell them all the songs that you've released, and then they handle paying the royalties. But one sticking point is that Nintendo have said on their website that they just don't give clearance. So if you wanted to reproduce any of their art, any of their sound, anything, they don't do it. So what I've ended up doing is actually release all the cover versions for free that anyone can just download. I'm not making a profit off any of those.
The hardest tune out of this batch is definitely the Castlevania tune, for reasons being that it's not a song that was written for a stringed instrument. So trying to decode what was going on in some of the multi-part harmonies was a bit of a challenge, and still continues to be a challenge to play it now.
Cross, quickly.
Protect the king!
The Witcher was a game based on a series of books by Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski and followed the story of Geralt of Rivia, one of the few remaining witches who are kind of like superhuman monster hunters with cat-like eyes. I played a bit of the first game, but it was one of those beasts that I never really tamed, and so going into The Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings, you may need to do a bit of catching up.
Yeah, the game assumes you played the first one, but you can get the mechanics of it pretty quick, and if you do miss anything, all the information is in your journal anyway. Similarly, with characters and story, you kind of have to piece together the relationships you developed in the first game. In The Witcher 2, Geralt is charged with protecting the king, when all of a sudden the king is assassinated, and you are the only suspect. You then set out to track down the true killer and clear your name.
Spoiler?
Well, the game is called Assassins of Kings, so I hardly think that'll come as a surprise to anyone.
Fair enough. First of all, let's just talk about how this game looks, because I think this is quite possibly one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. You will need a fairly hefty rig to run it, though. Stunning landscapes, gorgeous colours, wonderful detail in character clothing and interiors of rooms. I have to admit, my video card was really struggling. I had to open up the side of my PC and point fans at it and turn a bunch of the settings down. You may need to upgrade for this, but it's worth it.
Yeah, my card's only about 6 months old, but I couldn't even run it on full. It's one of those games where you just stop in the middle of nowhere just to enjoy the view. Oh, it looks so good.
Exactly. I feel like I've been waiting for a game to really nail true fantasy aesthetics, and this is just classic fantasy done to perfection. Dragons, forest adventuring, epic battles, magic, romance. It was like someone had just reached into my imagination and pulled out everything I love about this genre and then just put it in a game as I'd pictured it. And talk about an ass-kicking lead protagonist. Fwah.
I'm mad enough to admit he's dreamy. This is very much a story-driven game, so while you're doing plenty of hacking, slashing and adventuring, you'll be spending even more time having conversations with people or watching cutscenes play out. It's an involving story though, and your quest path isn't obvious, so if you've got to kill a monster or something, you'll really have to explore and investigate the surrounding areas just to find it. And there are plenty of optional side missions and things to discover just by chatting to people to distract you along the way.
Greetings, white-haired one. I could do with your help.
In the forest areas, you have a mini-map that shows you the path, but when you're adventuring, you don't feel like you're following something overly linear. You know, you do feel like you're exploring, almost in an open world way. Not quite, but almost. Geralt apparently can't swim though, which kind of sucks. In The Witcher 2, you use WSAD to move and left mouse click for a light attack and right for a heavy.
I found they did a really good job with the gamepad controls, Hex. You know, it only had a few little quirks, like collecting loot was the same button as attack, but generally I found it just superb with a gamepad, and once I plugged in my wireless dongle, I just could not go back to that keyboard.
Geralt also has 2 swords, one for fighting humans and a silver one for fighting monsters, and they have a damage modifier attached to each. And I loved that having this signature silver sword and the feline eyes was the mark of a true Witcher, and people around me would react to that.
How goes it, Witcher?
There is lots to collect and harvest in this game, and before long you'll be crafting weapons and mixing potions, stuff that I normally find quite tedious, but here it's done so well that I enjoyed it immensely. Gearing up for a big battle, downing the potions you've just prepared and spelling up. Is there anything more thrilling, Badge?
It's pretty exciting. I love the combat too, and they've completely changed the system from the first game. It's about good positioning, blocking, and trying to time your attacks right so Geralt can perform combos and finishes. It's nicely challenging with some epic boss fights. And even on normal difficulty, you'll die quite a lot, so it's important to keep upgrading your gear and making those potions to up your chances of survival. Some of the AI is a little questionable here and there, but I didn't care because these fights are so much fun, and I just love the way he wields a sword and slices it backwards and turns around. It's good when every single enemy can be a challenge. You've got a few spells or signs in your arsenal too, so you'll get satisfaction out of combining all of these elements to take down your foes. You can't spam your way through fights because both your magic and your blocking rely on your vigor, and they're both drained from that. So if you use too much magic, then you can't block and you have to roly-poly around until it refills. And the talent trees are massive.
There's so much loot to be gathered too, but you can use Geralt's medallion to locate which crates and cabinets have loot in them, which saves you walking up to each individual thing, which I appreciated. This will also help you detect traps. I also thought the game had a really nice interface. It made it easy to sift through all of the gear and pick out what to sell and what to keep. It may seem like a small point, but it means you won't waste time faffing about and you can just get on with losing yourself in the game's world.
Where are we?
In a forest?
I have to say, Hex, the story just pulled me right in here. It's filled with war and politics and also racial conflict with non-human races like elves and dwarves who are despised and oppressed.
An insect I'll not duel, but one that I will crush.
Seems like you spout the same old elven drivel.
The language is also colourfully offensive, and you also have that wonderful element of choice, and if you played the first game, your decisions will carry over to this one as well.
Yeah, and you'll often be presented with dialogue options for intimidation or coercion, which don't always yield the outcome you're looking for. Attempting to intimidate some soldiers into letting some prisoners go, for example, only caused them to slaughter them right then and there.
Oh, I've pissed myself. Really scary, you idiot.
Fail, Geralt. Fail.
Even though the way these choices played in the cutscenes isn't as elegant as something like Dragon Age or Mass Effect, I think the choices themselves are much better because you just don't know, you get this choice and you just have to go with it and play with your wits, and I think that's wonderful. I thought the voice acting was a bit hit and miss. Geralt is American, and so are the main characters, but to me it just made him feel like he's Kevin Costner in Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, where everyone else is British and they're American, so it's a bit inconsistent, and that kind of irked me.
Draw him away from the ballista while you're at it.
Slap me hard and call me stupid. Trying to put one by me?
I can only assume it's there to appeal to the American market, but in my opinion, they should all be British.
Yeah, that annoyed me as well. Although, accent aside, Geralt's voice acting didn't bother me so much. I thought it was suitably rugged and husky.
I'm tired of your whining. Get out of here.
But Triss, ugh, I hate Triss. She sounds like she's been hypnotized or is just really, really bored or tired or something.
This development would result from genetic errors that would cause your body to adapt, become a more efficient organism.
That said, you really enjoy watching some of those cutscenes play out as they're really well directed with some nice camera angles. Mind you, it can get pretty pornographic at times. Hello. There's also, of course, the obligatory brothels around for some lady lovin', although one chick I clearly didn't pay enough money and she just did this.
What is she doing?
I think it's supposed to be a sexy dance?
You don't say.
Works for me. I thought time moved really slowly in this game, so if you've got a quest that needs to happen at a certain time of day, you'll have to center yourself and meditate and wait for that time to roll around.
I found that nighttime was great for shenanigans, though. You can enter some quick-time event fistfights or other tavern-related mini-games and quests to earn you some coin. Or you can just break into people's houses, rob them, and then stare at them creepily while they sleep. They'll still talk to you, which is weird.
Ah, greetings.
Because the first hour of this game is playing out flashbacks, you feel like you've done so much already before even starting on your main objective. We've only managed to scratch the surface of this game, really. You can get a good 40 hours out of The Witcher 2, but the choices we've made already feel meaningful and important, and I'm just keen to see how all that plays out.
Me too. You know, I really wish I'd dedicated myself to the first one now, because I'm definitely going to finish this. I feel fully immersed in this universe, and a couple of the books have been translated from Polish, and I even went out and bought those in the weekend, so Barjo, I'm hooked. This is the perfect combination of compelling story and challenging gameplay. A truly wonderful RPG experience. I'm giving it 9.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Because of the impossibly high standards set by LA Noire last week with those facial animations, I couldn't help but feel like these cutscenes were last gen, but this is still a very beautiful looking game, and I just had a great time here, Hex. I think it's in the same league as Dragon Age Origins for me. It's not without its flaws, but I didn't care about the flaws, so I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Game.
So did you guess the game for this week? It was Fantastic Dizzy from 1991, an 8 and 16-bit platformer that followed the star collecting adventures of an Eggman thing. It was also one of the first games from Codemasters, who brought us this week's racer, Dirt 3. Nice tape work.
So if you'd like to win one of these awesome toys, which I've slightly modified, then please your case on the Good Game forums, the Good Game Facebook page, or the tweet stream, #GGTV.
We shall return next week where we'll be plundering dungeons co-op style in Hunted the Demon's Forge.
Check out Conan.
And obliterate even the most vile of enemies.
And on the eve of Duke Nukem Forever, we take a look back at how the game almost never got finished and how exactly Gearbox rescued it.
Until next time, gamers, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Barjo out.